jump in. So I know this is kind of weird for a priest, and we talked about this in the pre-interview interview. When someone asks you what you do, not what you're doing, but what you do, how do you describe your vocation?
My non-serious answer is always, who's asking? And other clergy friends of mine who are single describe trying to figure out what to say on dating profiles about what they do. I was ordained in June of 2020, June 30th of 2020, in a very strange ordination service.
I know there was an event going on in the world during that time, right? What
there was a few things in the world, yeah. So
I'm just kind of thinking that step from being a Southern Baptist to being an Episcopalian. Can you talk a little bit about that? What it was like growing up?
Yeah, like lots of, like any good church, we're good at potlucks, right? So lots of my memories early on are of eating and singing. Another thing that sort of stands out to me is how much that community taught me to value these scriptures. And where we differed as I got older was how to read them and what conclusions we drew. And in growing up, I was always taught it was to read the Bible literally as much as one could. But I would say, and this is not original to me, someone smarter than me said this first, but we would say now I take the scriptures too seriously to read them literally.
I love that. I'm writing that down. Hang on. I love that.
My understanding of other denominations was really like, oh, they all have different music styles, but we all believe the same thing. Because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you. Yeah.
At that point, I'm starting to explore a little bit. You know, I visit other churches once in a while, at least in how liturgical church would celebrate it. You know, you would have Advent and Lent as sort of more solemn times of year, and Good Friday and Ash Wednesday, these moments built in where we're talking about death, we're talking about sadness, about the things in our story that we say we believe that are tragic. And that's worked into the worship. As a girl, as a little girl, I didn't feel called to be a parish priest, right? Because that wasn't my language at the time. And I never saw a woman do that. And that wasn't a thing women did. Very much called to something, and it would sort of change as I got older. You know, as a little girl, I thought I want to be a missionary because all the other little girls pray for the missionaries on their birthdays. When I did my first, after I got ordained, I did a half-time, 20 hours a week curacy at St. Luke's in Seattle, and then kept my hospital job. So I was working 30 hours a week at the hospital as a chaplain. This is in 2020, mind you.
Right in the middle of
so
COVID,
it's complete chaos. And 20 hours a week at the church. So that's 50 hours a week. At the time, the biggest challenge was that we were going through a worldwide health crisis.
Right. And you were in the middle of it, trying to be a caregiver and a supporter of people. You were serving as a hospice chaplain in downtown Seattle, I can only imagine, in the middle of a pandemic. And this was one of the early major areas where the pandemic was like taking footholds, right? In Seattle. I mean, you must have witnessed fear and hope and despair, and
as bad as you can picture, it was worse. You know, running out of space in the morgue. We were planning well before the public had any idea. Our hospital was planning, what do we do if we run out of ventilators? How do we decide who gets one and who doesn't if we only have so many? And most of the public in America at that time was still thinking it's not gonna get here, it's gonna stay on other places in the world. But yeah, everything you could picture, right? The highs and lows of all kinds of human experiences of grief and sadness and fear, anxiety, everything changed all the time because we were constantly learning new information. Imagine, firefighters running towards the burning building.
Yeah.
That's what we were doing.
Yeah.
We were running towards the danger and the suffering and the grief. And a chaplain's role is very unique in that setting too. Yeah. So I'm working with Home Center Publishing. It's almost done.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So, and it covers that time, January 2024, or January 2020 through January 2024. I'm in Silverdale, Washington, so it's sort of the burbs across the water from Seattle.
Nice.
What is one change I could make that would have the biggest impact on my life for the better and to, help me spiritually, physically, emotionally, be more healthy? I think I should stop commuting to Seattle. I think I should work closer to where I live, because from door to door, that commute involves ferries and buses and Ubers, and it can take up to 2 hours.
Loving life, happy it sounds like.
Yeah.
Are you still doing chaplaincy or not at all? You're not doing chaplaincy right now.
So, yes and no, I would say. A lot of the skills you use in chaplaincy, you still use in the church, right?
Oh, yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
And I am currently in the process of trying to onboard as a volunteer chaplain with the local fire and rescue department.
Nice.
You can take the girl out of the hospital, but you can't take the
can't
chaplain
take the
out of the girl.
Southern Baptist Episcopalian. You went from being a teacher to being a chaplain in the midst of COVID. You went from chaplain to being a parish priest. You're now going to be a fire department volunteer chaplain, which is really cool, by the way. I just honor you for that. Way to go. Way to go. So change is a part of who you are. How do you encourage other people to be open to change?
I guess I would say to people, not to be cliche, but sometimes the cliches are real, right? So a lot of times we're on the face of, on the precipice of a big change. And many of us, our instinct is to cling to what we know and what feels safe and stable. And we know how to do these things. So, or we know the setting we're in, even if it's a stressful one. So a change feels sometimes even more scary. Leaving my teaching job was potentially the scariest thing I ever did, because I had no idea, where that was going to go, if anywhere. And what are the risks if you do this thing, right? Because I certainly did. I was thinking about, okay, if I leave this very stable, respectable career as a high school teacher, maybe I'm going to end up living with my parents again. So who knows? But this is biblical too. Count the cost, right? Yeah,
Count the cost.
measure what it's gonna cost you. Consider the risks of what could I lose if I do this? Certainly ask yourself that. But don't forget to also ask, what am I gonna miss out on if I don't?